Last video, we defined consciousness as the ability to have something that is like, to sense the world, to feel, to think. In other words, to have experiences of myself and the world. The mystery of consciousness is that we cannot find consciousness. We cannot find those experiences anywhere, not even in the brain that should create those experiences. Think about it. Only you know that you have experiences from your own first-person point of view. But when I will try to measure your experience from the outside, from a third-person point of view, I cannot find your experience. While you know that you have consciousness, you have no idea if I or any other have consciousness. That's why, if we want to know if other animals have consciousness, we cannot, because we cannot measure it. Or if we want to know when human babies start to develop consciousness. Or if we want to know if GPT or any other AI systems have consciousness. We just don't know, because we cannot measure it. The only thing that we can do is just to search for correlates. For example, I stand here in this beautiful scenery and I'm feeling awe because of that. But this is from my own first-person perspective. From your third-person perspective, you cannot measure this consciousness. So you can try to measure just correlates with that. For example, you could try to measure how my heartbeat is becoming faster. But still, of course, this is not the actual feeling of awe that I have. So then, you can try to look at my brain, where this feeling of awe should be created. Over there, you can find an area, or maybe even a network of this feeling of awe. And even, you can stimulate my brain, you can stimulate this area, and then all of a sudden, I will say, oh wow, I have a feeling of awe all of a sudden. But still, you didn't see or you didn't measure the feeling of awe that I have. You just somehow created it. That's why you need to ask me, what do you feel right now? Although you created this feeling in me, you will not feel this awe. Only I will feel it. Now, maybe in the future, we will have the best technology. And then we can actually measure the exact patterns, the exact process and the exact activity of the neurons in my brain. And then we'll see some kind of neural pattern, something very complex, that should be my feeling. But still, it's not the actual feeling that I have. The only thing that you can measure from the outside will be this complex pattern. But this pattern is not the feeling. That's why, again, you need to ask me, I see this pattern, what do you feel right now? And only then I can tell you, oh, now I have a feeling of awe. The pattern itself is not the feeling. If it was the feeling of awe, then while you measure it, you should also feel the same awe like I do. But of course you will not feel it, you will just measure those patterns. So in other words, we cannot find where and when even the brain creates our experiences. We can only find those complex neural patterns. How can it be? How can it be that it seems like that the brain cannot even create consciousness? It cannot create those experiences, because the only thing that it can create are those neural patterns, and not the actual experience itself. Now you can think, well, maybe another area in the brain translate those patterns into my experiences and this feeling that I have. But when we look at another areas in the brain, we see more and more brain patterns this is what our brain can do. Only brain patterns. It cannot create something different than that. It cannot create the experience. But then how come we do have those experiences? What is going on here? It's a very interesting, mysterious conundrum. You can think about it from a different angle. Let's think about computers. So computer has some kind of machine language, and we can check this machine language, how it can create in the end an image on a screen. But then, if you think about it as an analogy to our brain, so in our brain, neural language is those neural patterns. And then we can ask, okay, so now where is the actual image? Where are those experiences? And we just cannot find them. Although, of course, we do have them. So what is going on here? It seems that there is a gap that we cannot bridge between first-person point of view, where our experiences are, and the third-person point of view, where we only can see the behavior of the brain and our brain patterns. And there is no way how to translate those neural patterns into the actual experiences. This is such a hard problem that the philosopher David Chalmers called it the hard problem of consciousness back in the 90s. Now, this problem is in the essence of consciousness. All those experiences are consciousness. So then it means that every theory of consciousness, in the end of the day, should explain how the brain can create those experiences. But until today, no theory of consciousness can explain and answer this hard problem.